Welcome to another page from Apache County History with Dolly Patterson. This week I'm going to touch briefly on the early Hispanic settlement of Concho, Arizona. I have taken a lot of the information I'm sharing today from the book Concho, the Enchanted Pearl, which was compiled by E.M. DeGlane, who was the historian of the Concho Historical Society for a time. It was published in 1981. If I leave anyone out, please know that it's not intentional. There's a lot of people involved in this history. Hope you enjoy. The first settlers came to the Concho area in the late 1850s to the early 1860s. Don Manuel Antonio Candelaria was one of the very first settlers. Other early Hispanic settlers were the Ortegas, Peralta, Armijo, Romero, Baca, Chavez, Gallegos, Dominguez, Garcia, Padilla, Lucero, Gonzalez, Lopez, Perez, Ruiz, and so many more. When the first settlers arrived in the Concho Valley, they found a lot of shells all along the Concho Creek. In those years, the water ran all year around. The settlers called their new settlement Conchas, a Spanish word meaning shells. And I probably said it wrong. I apologize. This name was known only among the early settlers themselves. New Mexican church records referred to the Conchas settlement as El Rio Colorado Chiquito. Sometime later, the name was shortened to Concho. Don Prisciliano Archunde is credited as being the first person to find the spring, later called Concho Spring. One of the most distinguished and illustrious families in early Apache County were the Candelarias of Concho. They were big landowners, largest sheep owners, businessmen, and early settlers. This family is credited with bringing the first sheep to Concho from the New Mexico Territory. Farming and running flocks of sheep is one of the reasons settlers were attracted to Concho. The biggest flocks of sheep in southern Apache County were in the Concho area. It was hard work. They had to deal with Apache raids, diseases such as scabies and head grubs, dipping, shearing, shipping, and selling wool. In 1895, the sheep quarantine law was passed by the 18th Legislature of Arizona, and sheep inspectors were appointed for each county. The inspector of sheep shall be a resident of the county for which he is appointed, and shall be a practical sheepman. It shall be the duty of such inspector at any time, upon the affidavit of any citizen of his county, having in charge or owning sheep, that are infected with scab, scabies, or other contagious or infectious disease, examine such sheep without delay, and if he shall find such sheep to be infected with any such diseases, he shall notify the owner in writing to doctor, dip, or cure them forthwith by the use of some standard curative medicine. 5 kinds of parasitic mites cause scabies or scab in sheep and goats. Common scabies is highly contagious to all classes of sheep. It is transmitted readily and quickly from one animal to another by direct contact. The mites cause intense irritation and itching. Infested sheep become restless and furiously scratch, rub, kick, and nibble at their wool. The fleece soon has a broken, disturbed appearance. Organophosphate dips are only effective against sheep scab when applied by correctly plunge dipping. They are not effective when used in jets, showers, or sprays. Dips kill scab mites within 24 hours and have residual action for several weeks. They provide ongoing protection from reinfection if sheep are returning to the same infected pastures or commons. Dips also control blowfly, lice, keds, and ticks. In Arizona in 1905, there were estimated to be between 500,000 and 1 million sheep in the territory. The government sent notices that all sheep needed to be properly dipped and certificates of dipping would be issued. If the sheep were not dipped under supervision of an inspector within reasonable time, they would be quarantined and treated at the owner's expense. Running sheep was the most important and biggest source of income to the early settlers of Concho. Besides the Candelarias, other very successful sheepmen were Don Evaristo Martinez, Don Pedro Montano, the Sandovals, Nassif Tamer, Desiderio Ortega, and the Peraltas. Back then, Concho was a bustling place, especially at the height of the sheep industry. It hosted many stores, and actually the first bank of Apache County was established there at Concho. Just a few of the early businesses in Concho: the Theodore Lopez Butcher Shop, Tobias Eunice, a car dealer for Star Durant Cars, ACMI, or the Apache County Mercantile Company, which was first managed in 1895 by Alfred Ruiz, the Concho Saloon with Leandro Ortega as the proprietor, the Juan Candelaria General Store, the Nassif Tamer General Store, L.R. Gibbons and Harris Greer, the Gibbons and Greer Store, the Schuster Store, Don Benigno Lopez Bar, Stable, and Hotel, the T. Eunice Mercantile, the Thomas Ortega Bar, and the Kempe General Store. The Apache County Bank in Concho was the first bank in Apache County, Territory of Arizona, and also the first bank in northeastern Arizona Territory. It was established in 1902, opening with a capital asset of $15,000 in cash. The bank had all of the Concho business as well as the treasurer of Apache County and several St. John's businesses. The bank went out of business in 1906. In 1913, a second bank was established, but only lasted a few years before being destroyed by fire. Its principal stockholders were the Schusters, Candelarias, and others. Some of Apache County's early leadership hailed from Concho. Some positions held by early residents of Concho was the Apache County Superintendent of Schools. There was actually several that came out of Concho. District Attorney, the County Sheriff, Deputy Sheriff, County Assessor, and several that served on the Board of Supervisors for Apache County. Concho was also well known for farming, gardening, and fruit raising. Don Pedro Candelaria's son Roman Candelaria was one who raised amazing fruit on his ranch at Concho, winning many prizes in the state fair for his variety of apples. Concho had a sister community for a time called Erastus. It was made up of Mormon immigrants who came to the area starting in early 1879, and perhaps we will cover that history in another episode. Thank you for watching this episode with just a tiny bit of the early history of Concho, Arizona. It's a fascinating history. If you would like to read more from DeGlane's book about the Concho history, 6 of our libraries in the Apache County Library District hold this book either in their reference or their Southwest collection. In most libraries, it is not available for checkout, but only to read within the library. The Apache County Historical Society Museum also has a copy, and again, it's a reference copy, so you can study it within the museum itself. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and please join us again next time for another page from Apache County History.